On a crisp morning of September 11th, 2001, the bustling streets of New York City and the hum of activity in Washington, D.C. gave no indication of the historic tragedy that was about to unfold. The twin towers of the World Trade Center stood tall, symbolizing the economic power of the United States. Meanwhile, thousands of travelers boarded planes unaware of the dark intentions of the terrorists on board. This day began like any other, yet it would end as a chapter of unimaginable loss and transformation for America and the world. For years, the al-Qaeda terrorist organization, led by Osama bin Laden, had planned an attack aimed at shaking the foundation of American strength and unity. Their grievance, fueled by geopolitical tensions, culminated in a coordinated hijacking of 4 planes. As the day dawned, intelligence agencies were unaware of the impending catastrophe. This lack of foresight highlighted vulnerabilities in national security, which would soon become a pivotal aspect of America's future policies. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center, leaving a fiery gash near its upper floors. Those nearby were jolted out of their routines, staring in disbelief as flames and smoke erupted into the clear blue sky. Initial reactions ranged from confusion to disbelief, with many assuming it was a tragic accident. Unbeknownst to them, this was only the beginning of a coordinated attack. As news stations scrambled to report the incident, cameras captured the surreal scene of the burning tower. Emergency responders rushed to the site, their dedication and bravery on full display. The world watched as speculation mounted, but the true horror would reveal itself moments later when United Airlines Flight 175 struck the South Tower at 9:03 a.m. It became clear that America was under attack. As the tragedy unfolded, millions of Americans and viewers worldwide turned to their televisions for information. News anchors, often struggling to comprehend the unfolding horror, delivered live updates in real time. Networks like CNN, NBC, and ABC continuously broadcast the chaotic scenes, the smoking towers, the second plane's impact, and later the shocking collapse of both buildings. The raw emotions of anchors and reporters mirrored those of their audiences, many breaking down or pausing to process the enormity of what they were witnessing. The live reactions of people caught on camera became defining images of the day. Crowds gathered around store windows displaying televisions, united in shared disbelief. Phrases like "this changes everything" and "we are under attack" reverberated across networks, cementing the day's events in collective memory. The immediacy of the broadcast turned 9/11s into one of the most universally witnessed tragedies, altering how people experienced global news forever. The attacks unleashed chaos and fear across the nation. News of a third plane, American Airlines Flight 77, crashing into the Pentagon at 9:37 a.m., spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves through Washington, D.C. This strike at the heart of America's defense establishment underscored the magnitude of the threat. For many, the unthinkable became reality as the day's events continued to unfold. Amid the confusion, passengers on United Airlines Flight 93 fought back against the hijackers, forcing the plane to crash into a field in Pennsylvania at 10:03 a.m. Their bravery prevented another catastrophic attack, likely targeting the White House or Capitol. This act of heroism became a beacon of resilience, symbolizing the courage of ordinary Americans in the face of terror. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed, sending a cloud of dust and debris cascading through the streets of Lower Manhattan. Just 29 minutes later, the North Tower succumbed as well. The iconic skyline of New York City was forever altered, and the magnitude of the tragedy became evident. Thousands of lives were lost in an instant, marking one of the darkest moments in American history. The collapse trapped first responders and survivors alike under tons of rubble. For days and weeks afterward, the site became known as Ground Zero, a haunting reminder of the event. Volunteers, firefighters, and rescue teams worked tirelessly, often at great personal risk, to recover bodies and search for survivors. Their efforts underscored the human spirit's resilience amidst devastating loss. The scale of loss was staggering: nearly 3,000 lives taken, countless others injured, and families shattered. Vigils and memorials sprang up nationwide as Americans came together in shared grief. Images of people holding candles, waving flags, and comforting one another defined this period of collective mourning. The pain transcended borders, with global leaders expressing solidarity with the United States. President George W. Bush addressed the nation, vowing justice for the perpetrators and strength in the face of adversity. His words, "We will not tire, we will not falter, and we will not fail," resonated with a grieving yet determined populace. The nation's unity in mourning laid the groundwork for resilience and rebuilding. The attacks of 9/11 sent ripples across the globe. International alliances were strengthened as nations joined the United States in condemning terrorism. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, invoked Article 5 for the first time in its history, declaring the attacks an assault on all member states. The world stood united against a common enemy. However, the attacks also stoked tensions between cultures and religions. Many Muslim communities faced increased scrutiny and prejudice as fear and misunderstanding grew. The need for a balanced approach to combating terrorism without fostering division became a crucial challenge in the post-9/11 world. In response to the attacks, the United States launched the War on Terror, beginning with the invasion of Afghanistan in October 2001. The mission aimed to dismantle al-Qaeda and remove the Taliban from power. This marked the start of a prolonged conflict that would shape American foreign policy for decades. Domestically, the USA Patriot Act was signed into law, granting broad powers to law enforcement and intelligence agencies. While it aimed to prevent future attacks, the legislation sparked debates about privacy and civil liberties, raising questions about the balance between security and freedom. Efforts to rebuild began almost immediately, symbolized by the construction of the One World Trade Center, which opened in 2014. The 9/11's Memorial and Museum were also established to honor the victims and educate future generations. These sites became places of reflection, reminding visitors of the resilience and unity that emerged from tragedy. Survivors and families of victims found solace in sharing their stories, forming support groups, and advocating for better preparedness. The spirit of community and healing demonstrated that even in the face of profound loss, humanity could find ways to persevere and rebuild. The events of 9/11 deeply influenced art, literature, and media. Films like United 93 and documentaries chronicled the day's events, ensuring that the stories of heroism and loss were never forgotten. Music, poetry, and visual art also reflected the emotions of a nation grappling with its scars. The attacks reshaped the American psyche, instilling a heightened awareness of vulnerability. Airports implemented stringent security measures, and terms like homeland security became ingrained in public consciousness. The cultural shift underscored the lasting imprint of 9/11 on American life. 2 decades later, 9/11 remains a defining moment in American history. Its legacy includes a strengthened focus on national security and a renewed appreciation for the values of freedom and resilience. Annual memorials serve as a reminder of the lives lost and the sacrifices made by countless individuals. The day that changed America forever also taught the world the importance of unity in the face of adversity. It highlighted the need for vigilance against threats and compassion for those affected by violence. As history moves forward, the lessons of 9/11 will continue to shape a safer and more united world.